Well, well, one of us is here on time.
Good morning.
Good
This is
morning.
Tina Dye. Morning. This is Tina Dyehouse, State Hearing Officer. Turn on my camera. There we go. And I see I've got Mr. Wagner on the line, and then Stacy. Is it refit or refit?
Rough it.
Refit. That makes sense.
Great, I've been pronouncing it
Okay.
correctly myself.
Thank you, Ms. Refit. Okay, we'll get started. I just have to start the hearing recording, and then we can get started with your hearing, Mr. Wagner.
Excellent.
Okay, we are recording on the record in the state hearing of Kevin Wagner, appeals starting with 3917-871. Hearing is being conducted on November 12th, 2024. As I said, my name is Tina Dyehouse. I'm a hearing officer with the State Job and Family Services. And my job as a hearing officer today is to get enough information to make an impartial decision in the issues scheduled for hearing today. So after the hearing, my supervisor approves a written hearing decision. So that's how you know about the outcome of the hearing today, Mr. Wagner. You get a written decision in the mail in 30 days or less, and it's almost always less than 30 days. Uh, and if you disagree with the written hearing decision, we tell everyone at the outset you will have 15 days from the issuance date to appeal it, and there are further instructions for that on the hearing decision. And there's some state hearing rules I have to follow today. The county representative, Ms. Ruffett, goes first to give testimony because the county has the burden of proof. So after Ms. Ruffett gives the county testimony completely, then you'll get a turn to tell me your side of the issue, Mr. Wagner, and or anything else that you disagreed with or that you think I need to know, and I'll let you know when it's your turn, Mr. Wagner. And each side can submit documents you want to have considered as evidence. I mark them as exhibits and they're kept in the electronic hearing file with the hearing. And generally, the county's evidence will be Exhibit A, and your hearing request will be Exhibit 1. Because we're linked electron, or I keep the required recording in the electronic hearing file, and either of you can request a copy of the hearing recording when the decision is issued. And because we're linked electronically and recording, it's important to minimize background noise. I have to make sure that everything that's said is on the record. So if there's anything that drops out, I may have to have you repeat it. I was going to say you're welcome to mute yourselves when you're not giving testimony if you'd like to minimize background noise. Although it sounds good right now, I appreciate that there's no background noise. I appreciate you helping me make a good recording. And all testimony at a state hearing is given under oath. I'm going to have you both state your name, then I'll swear you in and we can get started. So why don't you go first for me, Mr. Wagner? State your name for me, please.
I first would like to state I was unable to upload any documents when I clicked on the link on the share portal. It did not provide me the opportunity to add documents, so I was unable to prepare and add any things into evidence. My name is Kevin Wagner. What else did you need?
That's it for
Thank you.
now. And I'll address your point in a minute. For certainly, sir. Okay. What after everyone is sworn in? Okay, so we've got Mr. Wagner, and then for the county,
Stacy Ruffett.
Thank you. Will you both please raise your right hand? Do you both solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Mr. Wagner?
I do swear.
Thank you. And thank you. And Ms. Ruffett?
Yes.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that both participants have affirmed the oath. And looking at the county's documents now, but before we get started, the state scheduled this hearing to address the September 17th, 2024 food assistance approval, and then a September 9th, 2024 food assistance benefit change notice. Mr. Wagner, did you want the state hearing to address both of those issues?
I do not understand why they are titled as such. My concern is that my unemployment compensation is being treated as anticipated income, and that is an error.
Okay.
And that is what I thought I stated in my hearing request.
Okay. Well, I will be aware of that. It probably ties into the notices that were issued. So I will be mindful of that as your issue as we go through the testimony. And then when it's your turn to give testimony, Mr. Wagner, we can address submitting evidence. You can still submit evidence if there was something that you needed to submit. We'll discuss that when you give your testimony, and you can email that directly to me if you're unable to submit it to the share portal. So we'll talk about that when you give your testimony, but for right now, Ms. Ruffett, you can go ahead with the county testimony, please.
Okay. Kevin Wagner had applied for SNAP benefits back on June 3rd, 2024. At the time of authorization, Kevin had unearned income from Social Security in the gross monthly amount of $1,197. This was verified using SolQ. He had a rent expense of $450, and he was given the standard utility allowance. Monthly benefit amount was authorized back then from that application in the amount of $193 a month. Thereafter, on July 22nd, 2024, the agency received a UCB alert showing that he had started receiving UCB income in the weekly gross amount of $257. This alert was processed on July 23rd, 2024 by the ongoing caseworker. The case was updated with this information, and Kevin's ongoing SNAP benefit was to reduce to $23 per month as of September 1st, 2024. A notice of action was issued to Kevin. The mailing date was July 24th, 2024, informing him that this change had been processed, resulting in a decrease in his benefits due to the increase in his unearned income. Thereafter, Kevin did contact the agency via email, and he had also left voicemail messages indicating that his UCB income would be ending. On July 30th, 2024, E-Verify was reviewed, and at that time, E-Verify was still showing that 3 UCB payments had been received by Kevin in July of 2024. The last, which had been received within, it had not been in excess of 30 days. So a checklist was issued to him on July 31st, had a due date of August 9th, 2024, asking that he provide verification that his UCB income had ended or would be ending. An email response was also sent to Kevin at that same time, advising him that this checklist was being mailed out and what verifications would be needed to end date his unemployment income. The unit supervisor here also did make telephone contact with Kevin on August 5th, 2024. He had requested to talk with her. Per the journal entry she entered, she indicated she did discuss with Kevin what verification he would need to submit as to this UCB income ending. On August 12th, 2024, Kevin's case was again reviewed by the ongoing caseworker, and no additional UCB payments were appearing on E-Verify after the July 2024 payment. Kevin had also responded to this checklist via email, and he submitted screenshots from the UCB website reflecting the same information. So at that time, Kevin's case was updated, dating the UCB income, and Kevin's SNAP benefit was increased back to $193 a month. Another notice of action was issued to Kevin, mailing date of August 13th, 2024, informing him that this benefit change would affect his September 2024 budget. On September 6, 2024, Kevin's case was again reviewed by the ongoing caseworker, as he had submitted via email a SNAP change reporting form indicating that he had, in fact, continued receiving UCB payments through the month of August 2024. E-Verify was reviewed, and this information did match what Kevin was reporting, that he was continuing to receive $257 weekly gross UCB income. The case was updated to include this UCB income as anticipated future income, and Kevin's SNAP benefits were to decrease as of October 1st, 2024. A notice of action was issued to Kevin, mailing date of September 9th, 2024, advising him as to this benefit change to his October 2024 and ongoing budgets. EDBC was ran for Kevin's case on September 16th, as his case did appear on the mass change report. No change to his benefits, and another notice of action was issued to him with a mailing date of September 17th, 2024. Kevin did submit a completed interim report dated October 8th, 2024. He submitted this via email. With this interim report, Kevin submitted a 5-page letter that indicated he felt that this UCB income was being improperly included in his SNAP budget. On page 4 of this letter, Kevin included a printout from the UCB website showing that he had been receiving regular weekly UCB income up to present. UCB income remained in Kevin's budget. We kept including it in the budget as anticipated future income. I submitted as exhibits copies of numerous email correspondence with this client. Kevin did submit a state hearing request. It was received on October 21st, 2024. He is of the opinion that his UCB income is being incorrectly included in his SNAP budgets. And then E-Verify was checked, and it currently reflects that he has received regular UCB payments from July 2024 through October 2024, with the most recent UCB payment having a payment date of October 22nd, 2024.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ruffett. As I said, the agency evidence will be marked as Exhibit A. I'm looking at it now. And did you include the SNAP budgets to show how the SNAP eligibility was determined as well?
Yes, I believe so. Let me look here at it. It's very long. I believe those are the pages at the back of the whole summary pages. I'm trying to see where it starts. I believe with page 163. That is a September budget. And then there's an October budget on there also.
Page 163 is September, 165 and 66 is October, and then 167 and 168 appears to be a partial of November.
Yes, that looks correct.
Okay, so you are also looking at the county's evidence at this point, Mr. Wagner? at the appeal
Well,
summary, you were able to access that?
I have the 168 loose leaf pages that was neither itemized nor numbered. Yes, I went through it last night.
Okay, good. And it's all given one letter, so one submission, no matter how long, is generally given one letter, so it's all Exhibit A. I'm glad you have a copy. So if there's anything in particular you want to draw my attention to in your, I have it. I have it up on half of my screen. I'm also looking at that. So we'll also
It would be
that.
nice.
So Ms. Ruffett,
I'm sorry.
Ms. Ruffett, was there anything else you wanted to say at this time?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ruffett. And thank you for waiting. Mr. Wagner, I want to start by asking you a few questions, if I could, with information, just a few questions, information I need to know to be able to write your decision. And then, of course, you'll be able to tell me whatever it is you wanted to tell me, draw my attention to any evidence that's in the county's packet that you've submitted to them. And then we'll talk about if there's something else that's not included with the county's evidence that you submitted to them or that you need to submit now, we'll make arrangements for you to submit that as evidence. So does anyone else live with you in your household, Mr. Wagner?
Well, if you count the cat.
No. Yeah,
No.
I know we should count them, but for SNAP, it's not. And how old are you?
62.
Okay. And do you receive Medicare?
No, I have VA health care.
And you're getting Social Security? Is it retirement or
it
disability?
It is indeed retirement.
And you receive $1,197 a month?
For this month and next month, the COLA should go into effect in January.
Right. Okay. And what did you want to tell me about that you disagree with, Mr. Wagner?
I am being improperly mandated to search for work, to apply for work at 2 jobs a week. In order for unemployment to be anticipated and all the documentation and emails state a start and end concept with unemployment. Unemployment benefits can last up to 1 full year. You get 26 weeks of paid benefits. If I look for 2 jobs per week, I'm entitled to an unemployment check. If I do not work or look for 2 jobs a week, I am not entitled to get an unemployment check. That should be my choice. There is nothing in any statute that I could locate that mandates that I look for work each week in order to obtain an unemployment check. I postulated that, and it will take me some time to go through my Excel sheet and then the physical papers that I have. I don't have a nifty electronic file to look at the evidence. But on one of those things, the reports that I gave them, I provided a scenario where if I looked for 2 jobs 1 week out of the month, it'd be one amount. If it was 2, it'd be another amount. But what the Stacy has done is told me that we're going to take it that you are going to look for unemployment. We're going to do 4.3 times your benefit and say that is anticipated income. It cannot be anticipated because if I have the ability to manipulate it. There is a form which is on the page. It's called the, hang on a second, SNAP Change Reporting Form, which allows you to report for your monthly income on a month-to-month basis. I stated that I should be able to fill out this form at the end of each month and that my benefit should be recalculated based on the actual income. I have continued to apply for 2 jobs a week because it is clear, because I was informed that that's the way it's going to be processed. I would like to be able to use my unemployment benefits to my best needs. In other words, if I don't need the money right now, I should be able to postpone it and claim it later. And my SNAP benefit can be calculated on a month-to-month basis. There is paperwork to do it on a month-to-month basis. And the SNAP Department of Ohio Department of Job and Family Services should not be able to mandate that I look for 2 jobs every single week, so that their paperwork is easier, that they can do one calculation, call it a day. If you want, I can take the time and find out what page number that form is. It would take me a little bit. Or I can show it to you on the screen. I think I can share my screen and show it to you. You want me to share my screen and show that change reporting form?
Well, certainly, sir. If you would like to do that, you may do so.
Let's see.
It's up to you, Mr. Wagner.
Does it say share? It used to have a share, react, view, people, raise, camera, share. Sorry, I was reading out loud. Do you see our pictures?
Yes, I can see this, that you've got the SNAP change reporting
Right.
there.
And that also, let's see if I can do both. There's a worksheet that comes with the form. Here I can put in, although I don't like the idea that my Social Security is considered unearned. I thought I spent decades earning it, but that's just aggravation with grammar. But here you can see that I can put in dollar amounts, create a balance, and then submit it. The 3 statutes Stacy sent me are all administrative codes. The first one talks about IEVS. The second one is definitions for anticipated income. And I think the third one gave scenarios of how that can be calculated. But my point is, unemployment, unless it's mandated that I search for 2 jobs every single week, cannot be anticipated because it can fluctuate. It can be nothing all the way up to $1,100 or let's see, a little over 1,000 if it's 4 weeks, $1,250 if it's 5 weeks in that month. I am merely stating that it is a wrong determination to say that unemployment income can be anticipated. It can only be anticipated if I am mandated to search for 2 jobs a week and therefore qualify for an unemployment check. I have stated that. We've had that in 5 emails, a phone call with her supervisor, whose name I don't have in front of me now. And I keep repeating the same thing. Now, I have continued to have it every single week because that's what my benefits are being calculated at. I am hoping that this hearing will take a look at the statutes and unemployment compensation and determine that I cannot be mandated to look for 2 jobs a week, and therefore my unemployment compensation cannot be anticipated, and that I should be able to use the forms provided in order to submit my income in an accurate basis and in an actual statement. This is the month. Here is my income. What else? Hang on a second. I took a couple notes. Oh, another thing, that change reporting form also informs me in one of the documents that I had to notify them of change income before the 10th of the month. And yet in the supervisor, I was told that a fraud alert had been generated because they found out that I was receiving unemployment and I didn't notify them. But according to my records, I still had several days to report the income. And why was information they received considered fraud when their own documentation said that my time frame wasn't even up yet? I didn't even have to notify them until the 10th. And I could, well, we'd have to listen to a 20-minute phone call with Stacy's supervisor, whose name escapes me right now, where I was very upset about it being called fraud when I didn't even have to report the income according to their own documentation. I think people are making up rules as they go. In other words, I truly feel that somebody is mandating that I look for 2 jobs a week until my unemployment runs out, and that's not in my best interest, and I cannot find a single statute that justifies that position.
Okay, sir, I understand what you're saying. I've made a lot of notes. When you see me looking down, I'm making notes. Making the notes that you're saying that the unemployment, unless it's mandated that you search 2 jobs, it can't be, shouldn't, you're asserting it shouldn't be used as anticipated income.
No,
And it can only.
no, madam, that is not what I said. Not should. I said it cannot.
Cannot, yes.
Yes.
Cannot.
It
I'm
cannot
sorry,
be considered anticipated because it is not steady or regular. I mean, all the examples in the statutes does give examples of regular employment. What to do if hours fluctuate. You take a amount of time and create an average. But in my case, it is being anticipated as if I am being mandated to search for 2 jobs a week.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting issue. I haven't had that come up before, but I'm happy to research that, and that will be addressed in your state hearing decision. Just so you know, the state, as I said, you get a written state hearing decision. In that that written state hearing decision.
Oh, I should stop sharing. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No worries. You can keep sharing your screen if you want. But the written state hearing decision goes over relevant rules, cites relevant rules, goes over the facts, then the applicable policy, then provides analysis of the facts and the policy, and is usually a pretty helpful, I think, document for people. Of course, right, and then of course you also have another appeal process if you disagree with the written state hearing decision as well. So where they would look at all the evidence. And was there anything that you wanted to submit as evidence, that anything that wasn't included by Ms. Reffitt, anything you had submitted to the county that wasn't included with Exhibit A, or in your hearing request, Mr. Wagner?
Well, the voicemails weren't included, and that's odd. It must have been before, because I didn't see any phone calls where I left voice messages. I did searches and I only had 2 lengthy conversations. I would love to be able to email you the voice message or no, for the most part, our conversations were just a rehash of the same argument 5 or 6 times. I'm saying that no, I don't have to apply for unemployment every week. And they were saying, we don't care if you don't have to, we're going to calculate it this way. And it was just that argument back and forth.
Okay. And your testimony about the voicemails and conversations is probably sufficient for this hearing. Any actual voicemails might need to be subpoenaed, and I don't know that would be granted, but I wouldn't make that decision, so I can't say for sure, sir. Well, but I can say that I think your testimony about it, your sworn testimony, because your sworn testimony is evidence, and that's probably sufficient evidence for these purposes, especially if, as you said, it was reflective of the argument that you've put forth at the hearing and also in the prior emails.
And I should have the recordings because my phone records everything, so I should have what I said on voicemail. I just have to find it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to see if there's anything that Ms. Reffett wants to say in follow up on the county's behalf, or follow up and closing, and then you get a chance to make a brief closing statement as well, of course, Mr. Wagner. So, Ms. Reffett, is there anything else from the county in follow up or closing?
There's really nothing else I needed to add. Everything's included in what we submitted. Our trainer had emailed state policy at one point about this. I believe that's all included. And that is how, and that's where I got the administrative codes that I did forward to Mr. Wagner that they were advising us to follow.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Reffett. And Mr. Wagner, anything else you wanted to say in closing briefly?
Yes, that the administrative code that she referenced is Ohio Administrative Code 5101-4709-E1A 2 little i's. That has to deal with something called IEVS. I am assuming it is how income is reported to you from various agencies. It did not mention anticipated income. The second status was Ohio Administrative Code 5101-4431 Alpha, which was, looks like the definition of income anticipation and various methods to calculate it. It does not mention unemployment is anticipated income. And then finally, Rule 5101-4701 is this is the requirements for reporting changes, which talks about the form. Again, it does not label unemployment income as anticipated income, which goes back to, once again, unless I am mandated to search for work 2 times a week in order to be eligible for unemployment, it cannot be anticipated because it can fluctuate between nothing and 1,262. My math is a little slow. I'd have to do it, but it's 5 times 257, whatever that is. And that cannot be anticipated because it's a choice. It can only be anticipated if it's mandated to occur. So refresh them, but there's nothing in those 3 documents that shows unemployment must be that I must search for work in order to have a regular income so that they can do the math easier. Sorry.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question.
Certainly.
Mr. Wagner, if the county asked you, said we were going, if the hearing decision found in your favor and that the unemployment couldn't be or shouldn't be counted as anticipated income, as the county saying, how often would you predict that you would receive it per month? Would you still choose to receive it weekly, or how often would you receive it?
Well, I would put a reminder out of how many weeks I have left, and then the deadline, and then when I needed it to pay bills, I would go look for work. I would search for 2 jobs so you get an additional $257. Because I've been mandated to look for work, I've been using it to buy kitchen gadgets to make it easier for myself when it runs out, or when I'm back to just $1,200 a month income, which would give me what the original benefit was. So I don't know. Some weeks I might do it every single time. Some weeks I might do it once, sometimes 2 or 3 times. I even, in the documents that you have, you will see in my notes to them where I detailed how much that income would be, and I pointed out there's a form where I can report it. In other words, I was provided the tools to have a fluctuating income and to keep honest. And I've received pushback saying, no, This is anticipated. We're going to calculate it this way. And every the 5 emails between Stacy and I always said unemployment start and end date, and I kept repeating the end date's in May of 25 or May of 2025, and I only get 26 weeks of benefits, but it's a 52-week period. I should be able to choose for my needs, not for the state's needs. I got to tell you, seeing a mirror image of Department of Job and Family Services kind of keeps distracting me.
So you would like the option to be able to have your unemployment benefit period of receipt stretch out further, but feel like you can't because it's being anticipated for the SNAP.
Yeah, I would like to be able to decide what's in my best interest and not have the state tell me that, no, you're going to look for two jobs every single week so that we can have a set SNAP benefit. We're not going to calculate it on a month-to-month basis. I mean, I'm sorry to sound petty, but it just seems like they're just being lazy. I mean, they have the forms that I can report my income monthly. The forms were sent to me. Why aren't they being used? Because it's easier to tell me to have that unemployment so we can calculate it and forget about it until it runs out. And that's not in my best interest. Who knows? I might have ran up enough debt getting it week to week that I may have to just to pay off my current debt. I don't know.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Wagner. Also, Ms. Reffitt, thank you for your preparation and testimony. I appreciate both of you prepared for it. Tony, I will take this all under consideration and issue a written hearing decision in 30 days or less, and this will conclude the hearing. The hearing is adjourned.
Ma'am, you never gave me your email address. You said I'd be able to send things to you to your email, but I do not have it.
Oh, okay. I didn't think you wanted to. I asked if there was anything that you needed to send, and you. Okay, so
I apologize. I was going to send you a link to a copy of my recording of our chat today.
A copy of a link to your reporting of what chat exactly?
This hearing. I was going to publish it. I like to keep my life open and available to the public. I would like the folks know what's going on in my life, so I like to share this with everybody. Just like I've shared other things I've submitted. I have a YouTube channel.
Okay. So is that that wouldn't be evidence for the hearing though?
No, it was just I just want to let you know that where it's at, that this hearing, I published it, and I wanted to send you that link so that you too, if you wanted to see what was said, you can have that link too. You have your own recording, but I just wanted to see if you wanted to know what it's unimportant. I apologize.
No, no. Sorry. There's no need to apologize. I'm thinking it through. I just want to make sure that as I think it through, it's the first time someone that has come up or that's been offered, but that wouldn't be additional evidence, so you don't need to send that to me.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The state hearing, just so you know, all state hearings actually we are required by a state statute to keep a public record of all state hearing decisions. So the state hearing decision is available with all identifying information redacted out of it, of course. So that's why you'd see, and you know that there won't be any, you wouldn't be identified by name. There's never any identifying information in a state hearing decision for that purpose. But just so you know, There's a state hearing decision bank where your state hearing would be, so that if somebody ever searched this issue, they would possibly be able to find your state hearing.
I've learned a long time ago the best way to avoid identity theft is to have one nobody else wants.
Okay. Well, so thank you both very much for your testimony. I'll take this all under consideration. As I said, issue a written hearing decision 30 days or less. There's no additional evidence, like actual evidence or verification that you wanted to submit, correct, Mr. Wagner, just to confirm?
Yeah, the
Before we
168
conclude.
pages covers it.
Okay, very good. Thank you both again, and the hearing is adjourned. Goodbye.